Welcome to Fridays 5. My name's Suzanne Caldeira. I'm a mortgage originator with Guaranteed Rate. But on my Fridays 5, it's where I'm normally not talking mortgages. I'm reaching out to some inspiring people that either I know or want to know to have a little conversation, ask them a few questions, and hopefully inspire you, the viewer who's watching this. My Fridays 5 are my views and my guest views, and not necessarily those of Guaranteed Rate. Today, I'm excited to have Dena Davis from Arts Alive, who said yes to being on Fridays 5. So thank you so much for being on here, Dena.
Thank you. I'm totally excited to be here, and I find you inspiring. So I feel honored to.
Aw, thanks. Thank you. I still think back to that first day that we met, and it was I just saw like your spirit and your warmth, and I was super excited that I think it was Margaret. That had done the connection to us. So I'm excited, and I still often think about that fondly. So I think as people are seeing this, they're going to see how truly inspiring you are. And I'm going to ask you my first question, which is, what does inspire you?
You know what? It's something that I think about daily, because especially like during the way that life has been going for the last 9 months, there's days that I'm looking for something to inspire me every day to just kind of get up and keep going. I know the answer to that question. There's a lot of things that inspire me, but I think it's got to be definitely the kids that I work with. A couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had to face what that treatment was going to be like and how my life was going to change. And of course, it's all very overwhelming and scary. And you hear all the stories of, you can't get out of bed and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't want to be that person. And I had to really look inside myself then of what is going to inspire me so that I'm not just, disappearing into the couch feeling sorry for myself. And I chose to keep working, and I showed up in my rehearsals with my kids. Sometimes I was in a chair, but I showed up and they made me feel better. And I swear to God, I did not get as sick as I know some people do, because I had that motivation there with me at the time. So definitely the kids that I work with, seeing them change through, what theater does to them, and the people that they become through it, the people I work with. It's just like, I feel like I've been given the greatest gift in the world to be able to do this.
Yeah, that is truly inspiring, and I'm sure perspective and a lot of stuff might have changed for you, right? I mean, how did you feel when you first got the diagnosis?
Terrified and completely floored and shocked, because there isn't any cancer in my family whatsoever, and I certainly never in a million years thought anything would happen to me. It's so funny because when you're growing up and you watch cancer movies, and the most terrifying thing is the idea of losing your hair, and of course that's the first thing that comes into your mind. It's like the first thing you ask your doctors, am I going to lose my hair? And the doctors, I went to Women and Infants Hospital up in Providence, and my doctor was just like, yeah. And I loved how, there was just like, deal with it. And that, I don't know, it really changed me. And also, I'm really grateful that I lost my hair. And I know that sounds insane, because I have always had a huge head of hair, but it made me realize that I don't have to identify with myself because of my hair, which so much of my life, I had big, long, curly hair and all that. And I'm like, oh, it's Dena and her hair. And, the people who loved me didn't care if I was bald. And it was really neat to feel that and to kind of lose that side of vanity. And let me tell you, you don't just lose your hair either. You lose your eyelashes, you lose your eyebrows, you lose everything. So, and I'm a Texas girl. I put my makeup on every morning of my life. So that was tough. Losing my eyelashes was almost tougher than losing my hair.
Oh my goodness. When you said I'm a Texas girl, I used to be in a coaching group, and one of the other loan officers was from Texas. And what did she say? Something like, the bigger the hair, the closer to God, or something like that. Yep. Is what she said.
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Oh, wow.
Big hair.
I think that speaks to your spirit, is that you found, that inner strength and your inner beauty, which you have, and that's what radiates from you is that. And I think sometimes when life just deals you shit, you can look at the good in it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because we get to a certain age too, where it's like we realize cancer is touching a lot of people in your life.
Yeah.
And I have quite a few friends that went through the same thing, and I got so much strength from them just telling me, look for the silver lining. You're thinking the dark places that you're going to go, but you won't believe how many great things come out of it. And they were so right. And if I'm now in a position where I'm recovered, and if I meet somebody who's going to go through the same thing, I'm going to tell them that as well, because it really does change your perspective, and my life is better for it, for sure. I
Wow.
just have one less boob, but that's okay.
So you went through that, and you found your strength, and maybe that is going to be the answer to my next question that I love to ask people, Dena. But that's pivotal moments, or defining moments, or moment. Are there any, or one that stands out to you in your life?
Well, there's a few. I mean, that definitely was a big, huge moment in my life. But I think, and this is one of the reasons that I like working with kids, because I had a pivotal moment when I was probably, I think, a freshman in high school, maybe freshman, I think. And I just, I'd had kind of a rocky childhood. I lost my mom at an early age. There was, trouble at home with me, and just, not really knowing who I was, and acting out and not being happy. And I took a theater class in high school, really as a blow off class, because it's like, easy A, whatever. And we were given an assignment to do a monologue, and I didn't even know what that was. I mean, so I worked on it was from Butterflies Are Free. I'll never forget it. And I worked on it, and I got up to do my monologue, didn't think anything about it, but the teacher sort of pointed me out in the class and said that I did a good job. And I was like, I did? It just, like, I don't know, it just kind of made me feel like I'm good at something. And I'll be damned if that wasn't just that one moment that kind of turned me around and gave me something positive to focus on. And I started making different choices in my life and feeling like I could do something. And I don't think that my father was that thrilled about it, because then, of course, I declare that I'm going to go off and have this life in theater, which, as a parent, you don't really want your kid to say that. And I understand that now, because I'm a parent. But I did that one teacher changed my life.
Huh? Why do you say that you wouldn't want your kid to take a life in theater?
Because you don't want, because it's a struggle. I mean, like, there's so few people that can actually make a living at it. And I've learned, I mean, and the kids that I teach now, I don't teach them to say, oh, you got to try and be an actor. I teach them about using what they can learn from theater and acting and applying it to wherever they can in life. And, like, I'm a big fan of Elizabeth Gilbert. She wrote Big Magic. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love. If you ever get a chance to read Big Magic, it's a fantastic book. And she really talks about how if you have the drive and the desire in yourself to create, don't put the burden on that creativity to support you. And I just love that, because a lot of actors think, I'm going to hit it big, and I'll be the one that, can make lots of money and that's really not what it's about. And if you love to perform and you love to create, just create. Set up your own gig, set up your own show, your own troupe of actors, and just create. And, we all got to pay our bills. I mean, that's why I work a job on the side, so I can pay my bills. I don't get paid a lot for working with kids, but I do it because it feeds me in another way.
Did you ever have any time in your life where maybe you thought, like, hey, I'm going to go to Hollywood. I'm going to do this. Did you ever do that or attempt it?
Well, I mean, I have a master's in fine arts. I went to California Institute of the Arts to go study theater. I didn't want to be a Hollywood person, though. I wanted to do theater. And I made up my mind, I don't know why, but while I was at Cal Arts, that I wanted to be with Royal Shakespeare Company. I wanted to be a classical theater actress. And part of that was because I had the big, long Renaissance hair. I thought I looked the part, but I truly, truly loved Shakespeare. And I got invited my third year at Cal Arts to go and study. We had a guest director that came from the UK and directed our Chekhov round of plays. And he invited me to come and study at the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama. And to me, it was just like a door opened. It was going to get me over to the UK, and I could get on that stage and do Shakespeare. And I transferred over there. I went to school over there. I got picked up by an agent over there. And what I didn't realize was that in England, they take their classical theater very, very seriously. And they don't necessarily think that Americans are capable of doing that. So it was very difficult to kind of crack that nut. In fact, I don't think I ever did crack that nut, because the only job I ever got in Shakespeare, I got hired with a touring company to do a touring production of Macbeth, and I had to pretend I was British to get the part. So nobody knew I was American.
Wow.
But I did form a career. I did form a career in theater over there, falling into the American pool of actors, because there are a group of American actors that end up doing everything, which is fab. So I probably had a better career over there than I ever would have had in the United States.
Yeah, that is so neat. Now, who have been some of your mentors in your life?
Definitely some of the teachers that I had at CalArts were absolutely phenomenal. Libby Apple, who used to be, she was just like a goddess. She was the head of theater when I was over there. She was the dean of theater, and she's not there anymore. She's moved on, but just looked up to that woman so much. And I mean, it was, I really like people who give hardcore, true, realistic advice. I've always liked that. The whole sugarcoating and trying to make you feel better doesn't always serve you well.
Isn't it true that a lot of life can suck? But I mean, yes, having a rosy disposition, I'm all about positivity, but I think you can learn a lot in the moments of suck. And if someone can tell you where their moments of suck have been, that I think is more inspiring and more authentic and more true to the journey, instead of like, hey, if you think it, you can have it. Well, yeah, but you also got to do the work, and you also got to do what you don't feel like doing on those days.
Yeah. And we certainly never got that message at CalArts. I mean, they basically told us we only had 18 people that were accepted into our graduating class, and only half of us graduated, because they want you to have the reality of, if you're not going to show up and you don't bring 100%, they gave us this message our very first year in school of, if you don't have anything new to bring to this business, then get out.
Yeah, and, for sure.
Yeah.
So now, who have been some of, and you mentioned Eat, Pray, Love, that author, but who are either authors or podcasts or maybe even YouTube people that you follow? Who are those that, that maybe have inspired you?
Well, it's so funny, because my latest inspiration, I've been trying to get my financial act together for the past few years. I went through a divorce a few years ago, right before I went through the whole cancer thing. And just this realization of, why have I never thought, why did I just think I would deal with my retirement later on? And why did I always just think I would be okay? And, and I have always landed on my feet and been okay. But so I've kind of got a little obsessed with Susie Orman. I love her. I listen to her on Wednesday mornings. I listened to her on Sunday. I bought her retired, for women over retirement for people over 50. And I'm just like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm getting a plan. I've got my Roth IRA. I've got everything. So I'm like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but I find her hilarious and straight and to the point. And I've learned so much listening to her.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, plug for Susie.
Yeah, it is a plug for Susie. And I didn't even have a will or anything. And like, I listened to her on that, and I got her little must-have documents, which were so cheap. And now I have a, what do you call it? A trust, the revocable trust set up. I've got my will. I'm like set.
Yeah. Look at you adulting. Yeah. Anyone else?
Let's see. I listen to things that kind of try and put me in a positive state every morning. I walk my dog every morning, and I usually have a podcast on. I've listened to the Good Life Project. I don't know if you've ever listened to that.
Is that Gretchen Rubin?
No, but I love Gretchen Rubin.
Yeah. Okay.
No, Good Life Project is, I can't remember who, it's through one of the news channels, but they just interview different inspiring people. And like today they had on Jen Sincero, who wrote the You Are a Badass. Mm-hmm. I love as well. She's another one, just like irreverent and hilarious and to the point. She's inspiring too. She's got another great money book for anybody who's out there trying to get their crap together. She wrote You're a Badass at Making Money.
I have not read that one, but I did read You Are a Badass. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, last thing that I love to wrap with, and it's really not a question, but part of this Friday's Five is just for anyone that's watching, like, tell us about you and how to find you and how to find the stuff that you're doing.
Well, I mean, my as I mentioned, my passion is Arts Alive, which is a nonprofit children's theater organization that we've set up in the East Bay, in Rhode Island. Our website is artsalivebarrington.org, but we don't just serve Barrington. We're also in the Warren schools and breaking into Bristol Warren through COVID, since we can do some virtual stuff. But it's just a great organization that was set up in the first place because theater's kind of disappearing from our schools, and certainly kids as young as the elementary age. I mean, we start with kids in first grade and carry them through we're like a feeder program into the high school, so that the kids that are entering the high school have then had years of experience doing shows and plays. And we're basically bringing the school play back into the schools, which, is, and I'm not talking about just like a few kids that like to get up and do a little play. We have like 150 kids that will show up wanting to take part in these shows. And there's a need for the arts, and it's brought the community together. It's probably what I'm more proud of than anything in my life, aside from my children. I'm very proud of them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know you light up when you talk about it, and keep doing what you're doing, because you're helping shape some awesome humans, and helping them and giving them little defining moments in their lives, just like when you were younger and you had someone believe in you. I bet you've turned a kid's life around.
I sure hope so. I mean, I see some kids turning into some pretty amazing young adults. So, and I know that a lot of that is through theater.
Thank you so much for saying yes to this, Dena.
Thank you.